Hey everybody, I don't even know what to call this. Here is a sneak peek of the email newsletter I'm about to send out, except I'm going to include this video in the email newsletter. So it's like I'm talking to you in the future from the past, except right now this is on Instagram Live, so I don't even know what this is right now. This is very meta. I'm addressing myself, sort of. Anyway, whatever. This is what matters. Domaine de Chevalerie. This is Bourgeuil. Did you know I like Cabernet Franc? I do like Cabernet Franc from the Loire Valley. Domaine de Chevalerie. Bourgeuil. Bourgeuil is the place. Bourgeuil is the appellation. So like the type of wine, the legal name and set of rules and everything that this plays by. You see on the label it says Galichets there. That's the particular single vineyard that this comes from. Also, hopefully you notice that the vintage is 2014. So this is an older bottle of wine. No, I haven't just been holding this in my warehouse here. This actually was just released and shipped from the winery over here to the US. So this has been held in perfect conditions, just aging until, they felt like it was great and ready to go. Now I have it in my mittened little hand. I don't know why I didn't wear mittens earlier when I was out here doing these videos. These make my hands so much more comfortable. This is 100% Cabernet Franc. Galichets, so let's see. Domaine de Chevalerie. Domaine de Chevalerie has been here. The Callot family, Pierre Callot. It's Stephanie and Emmanuel, and Pierre Callot is what it says on the label here. Pierre actually has since passed away, unfortunately. But Domaine de Chevalerie was founded in 1640 by the original Pierre Callot. I believe, Stephanie and Emmanuel are his children. I believe they're 14th generation now. They're one of the greatest producers in Bourgeuil. That's an easy statement for me to make, really. Like, they make amazing wines. I don't know, I think they have slightly less than 100 acres spread all over the place, all over the appellation. They farm grapes using organic and biodynamic practices. They actually sell off a fair amount of the grapes, and they keep the grapes, though, from a bunch of different single vineyards that they feel are unique and produce different wines, and they really do. So anyway, so Domaine de Chevalerie just released basically all their different single vineyard bottlings from the 2014 vintage that they had been cellaring. My friend and importer Laurent Bonnois lives up the road from them. I went and visited him and visited Domaine de Chevalerie back in 2012. So I'm not sure exactly how it happened. I think it was sort of for Chamber Street in New York, but it was a special, like, direct export just for them, release of all these single vineyard 2014 wines. And then Laurent was like, hey Ned, I'm getting all these single vineyard 2014 wines from Domaine de Chevalerie. Do you want some? And I said, yes, I want all of them. Give me all of them, whatever I can get. So I got a broad range. The different single vineyards, there's one that's like up on part of Bourgeuil is a plateau up above the Loire River, and then there's hillsides coming down to the Loire, and then there's like sort of alluvial, like floodplains along the river down there. Down by the river, it's more like sand and, gravel, alluvial stuff. Up on the plateau, you have like clay and limestone, also more sand up there and stuff. On the hillsides coming down to the river, though, where everything's been eroded away, there are a couple different layers of limestone that were exposed, millions of years ago by the river, and also layers of clay, and that's where some of the most interesting vineyard sites are. Cabernet Franc is a relatively early ripening grape, but it's like a little tricky to ripen in the Loire because the Loire is so far north. The best Cabernet Francs, though, generally come from vineyard sites that allow the grapes to stay on the vine a little bit longer, particularly clay over limestone subsoil. Um, Sometimes with a mix of gravel, whatever. It changes the wines. So there's an email newsletter going out, basically when I go back inside, listing all the different wines that we got. I released them into the wild yesterday, so they're out there for sale at different retail shops around the state. That will all be listed. Explanation of how they're all different, and also what they taste like, because let me tell you, I take my job very seriously, so I tasted through all of them exhaustively and wrote a lot of notes about how they're all different. Anyway, so Galichets. So this is like halfway up the slope. It's clay over limestone, but there's also a fair amount of gravel and a little bit of sand in the soil. And the gravel, very different from clay, where clay is just like this cold heat sink. Gravel soaks up energy from the sun, heats up, reflects it back at the vine, and warms the vine up, warms up the grapes. And so Galichet ripens earlier than some of the other vineyard sites, but it's still age-worthy and still has structure and power. So I opened this a little while ago so that it could breathe and warm up a little bit. And I was there writing about Sicily at the computer and could just smell this sitting there. Mm. It smells like tart, cherry, cranberry, black pepper, old leather, like old leather, black cherry. A little bit of like blue fruit too. And these mittens are very comfortable, but I think actually I want to just be able to have my hand on it and kind of warm the wine up a little bit. There's also that sort of like roasted, like fire roasted poblano pepper, like a little charry, spicy smelling. I mean, in a way, it kind of also just smells like charcoal, like burnt wood, like a fire that burned out, and there's just the ash there. It's not the primary aroma. I mean, the primary aroma is fruit, is like black cherry and currant and stuff like that. But there's definitely other things going on here in the aroma. Mm. It's both like supple and sleek, and also structured at the same time. It has good acidity. Oh boy, that finish. It's kind of meaty. It has good acidity and tannic structure, but like it's so polished and integrated, which is something that you just get with age. So wine's coming together. I should have let it breathe more. I just opened it like 20 minutes ago, and really, for something like this that's like structured and not serious, but like structured and has a lot there, a lot of complexity and subtlety to it, and it's just been stuck in a bottle for 6-7 years. You should give it a little bit more time to breathe. At home, I mean, I'm probably primarily going to drink this bottle tomorrow, but I opened it today. Okay. Raspberry, tart, like small sort of wild cherry. A little bit of like black pepper. The finish has got this like spicy, smoky hint of like cocoa powder. Some blueberry. but like mostly black cherry. And then I get that little bit of like cocoa powder in the very back in the finish. The tannins, it has this like, the texture is smooth and supple, but running all the way through the wine, there's this sort of like this backbone of like minerality, of like gravelly, ashy, like sort of saltiness that isn't in your face, that you don't really, it's the thing that's apparent that's in your face that's delicious, that you notice and you pay attention to, is the fruit, is that like black cherry and stuff, and the acidity that's right up front, which is also really nice. But right through the entire wine, there is this sort of core of like ashy, gravelly, like salty minerality that, while the wine is clothed with this really smooth, supple fruit, you get this, then like this like serious structure that just holds it together, this framework. And it's not like tannic structure that is sort of like aggressive and more noticeable. It's just very tasty and savory. And you don't sort of, at first I don't understand, or I can't get my head around how like the wine has this very serious like personality, and it's like linear, but at the same time the fruit that I'm tasting, like the tastes I'm actually noticing and experiencing, the fruit and the texture are really supple and pretty and like easygoing. And I'm like, what is this like disconnect in my head, on my palate? But that's why it is because there's that underlying structure. These are really brilliant special wines. I got a library release like this from Domaine de Chevalerie once before, like 8 years ago or something. I'm probably never going to get these vintages again, you know, and like God knows when I'm going to get another library release like this from Domaine de Chevalerie. So these are exceedingly rare wines that just aren't even available in most of the country. As far as I know, they're available here, and they're available in like New York City, and that's it. So go read my email newsletter and go get some of these, because they are amazing wines, and they will be brilliant to drink tomorrow during a snowstorm or freezing rainstorm or whatever it is we're gonna have, and the rest of the week, and next week, and the week after that too, and all the rest of the weeks. These are just great special wines.